Load jumbo substrate rolls in the HP Latex 3800 jumbo roll solution and the jumbo input and output units if your printer has them. Then set up the printer to print jobs on the jumbo substrate roll. Turn on the printer. Push the blue button next to the power switch to rearm the printer, and then move the rubber spindles, loading table and curing module to their loading positions. On the jumbo input unit control panel, set the unwinder and rewinder speeds to 0 and then set the printer mode to manual. Repeat these steps on the jumbo output unit control panel. Turn on and enable the jumbo input and output units. On the jumbo input unit control panel, touch Home to move the steering modules to the center of the printer. Align the red dots, press the release button and then slide the hand wheel out of the unit. If the red dots do not align, use the unwinder to align them. Press the release button and then slide the hand wheel out of the unit. If the hand wheel does not move, check for any obstructions or damage to the hand wheel. Unlock and open the jumbo input and output operator platforms. On the jumbo input unit, slide the spindle into the core and center it. Use pressurized air to inflate the spindle bladders. Use an overhanging crane to lift the jumbo roll from the spindle and lower it into place. Check the orientation of the substrate roll before lowering it into the safety chucks. Repeat these steps on the jumbo output unit. Make sure the spindle bladders are inflated, the safety chucks are closed, and the core is centered on the spindle. From the IPS, or internal print server, view the recommended tension settings for the loaded substrate. Use the table to calculate counterweights based on tension and substrate width. Combine and load the 2, 3, and 5 kilogram weights to distribute weight evenly on both ends of each bar. Before threading substrate through the jumbo input unit, make sure the area beneath the tension bar is free from foreign objects. Set the unwinder spin direction according to your substrate roll winding direction. Set the unwinder speed to 30%, and then thread the substrate through the jumbo input unit. Guide the leading edge of the substrate through each part of the jumbo input unit as it unwinds. These areas include under the winder output diverter roller, over the tension compensator input diverter rollers, under the tension bar, over the tension compensator output diverter roller, under the 2 operator platform diverter rollers, over the printer input diverter roller, under the printer input rubber spindle, and through the loading table. Set the unwinder to 0. Close the loading table while keeping the substrate under even tension. Push the rubber spindle into the working position and close the latches. Close the operator platform. Set the unwinder spin direction according to your substrate roll winding direction. Set the unwinder mode to automatic. If necessary, loosen the screw holding the sensor in place to adjust its position. Move the steering sensor to the nearest substrate edge and center it within the sensor field of view, and then tighten the screw to secure it. Only LED 4 should be lit. Set the input steering to automatic. Make sure the substrate is free of any damaged or baggy regions. From the IPS, use the arrow buttons to continue feeding substrate through the printer. Under the printer output rubber spindle, push the printer output rubber spindle into its working position and then secure the latches. Close the curing module and its latches and then close the front door. If your setup does not include a jumbo output unit, complete the loading process by going to the IPS and touching Finish. If your setup includes a jumbo output unit, continue the loading process by going to the IPS and using the arrow buttons to advance 600 centimeters of substrate. Guide the leading edge of the substrate through each part of the jumbo output unit. Under the printer output rubber spindle, over the printer output diverter roller, under the 2 operator platform diverter rollers, over the tension compensator input diverter roller, under the tension bar, over the tension compensator output diverter rollers, under the rewinder output diverter roller, and under the output spindle core. Stop feeding the substrate when it reaches the output core. Attach the substrate to the core, keeping the tension as even as possible. Close the jumbo output unit operator platform. Set the rewinder spin direction according to the output roll winding direction. Set the rewinder mode to automatic. The tension bar moves up along its track to reach a stable position. If necessary, adjust the position of the steering sensor by loosening the screw holding the sensor in place. Move the steering sensor to the nearest substrate edge and center it within the sensor field of view, and then tighten the screw to secure it. Only LED 4 should be lit. Set the output steering mode to automatic. Make sure the substrate is free of any damaged or baggy regions. From the IPS, touch Finish. The printer finalizes the loading process. With the process complete, you can send jobs to print on the jumbo substrate roll.